Hey guys, welcome to another week. It was an incredible last week in the market. So a lot of fundamental effect on the market, from the Fed dovish, outlook to, USD recovering back, was sort of like a roller coaster, which opened, more opportunities to, more of day traders last week. So yeah, this week, what we're gonna do is we're gonna review some of the pairs we had last week, what happened over them, what is the price saying, and what is a projection, for the new week. So the first one we're gonna be looking at is the USDcad. We dropped this video last week, which you guys can see. We broke things down, and we had our buyers and all of that. So now let's get straight to it. So what happened last week was simple, right? Remember, we said we had two things in game. Number one, expecting price to get to this level, then give us a drop. Definitely, this is where price is coming back to. Or second case scenario, we're expecting some kind of like a break right here, a retest, then a continuation, for price to keep coming to the downside. So what happened last week? Let's see. So the second case scenario happened, which was price, breaking this level to the downside, giving us a retest to the downside and to the upside, and making a continuation. I think price went as much as 86 pips, profit, which eventually going to log a lot of people out and break even. So we had about 125 pips on profit, depending on when you enter the market. If you entered right here, 122. If you entered upon the continuation, it's somewhere around like 80 something pips on profit, right? So what happened last week is most likely a lot of people are gonna get locked out in small profit, some either 60, 50, 40, depending on where you push where you set your stop loss after price started to move profit. So now what we have to do right now is let's make sense of things all over again, and let's see what price has in stock for us this week. Looking at the fact that USDcad last week had a lot of fundamental influence from the USD side, which is the Fed dovish view, which was the reason for the strong bearish candlestick, and from crude oil, crude oil from last week, plummet to downside and add a major loss, since the crude oil has been starting to make a recovery, all of a sudden it started to make a lot of loss, which is majorly as a result of still the COVID effect on the crude oil economy. So now let's look at what is happening this week on prices. So what we have to do right now is to take things back to the bigger time frame to break it down again. So let's start with that. So what had happened so far? Is actually very simple, right? We're still maintaining the same bias. Price is still overall, pointing to the downside, which is very, very obvious right here. You can see we have a few more weeks for price, for this monthly candle to close, and price has been exerting the bearish pressure since the beginning of the month. So let's look at the weekly time frame. What do we have on the weekly time frame? Remember from last week we had these broken into different levels, and we said we expected the rejection to come in right here. So our focus this week is right on this level. We want to see what price is down on this level. So right after we have 2 weeks ago broke to the downside, right? We expect a further push, right? We expect price to make a further push to the downside, which was a reason for our swing here, right? For we that we're still on the swing, we're still in the trade because prices move so much in profit in our direction. All we are doing right now is managing our trade, and we expect more profit to come as price continues to move to the downside. But now let's see what happened last week. What happened last week, right? We have 5 candles in a week. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this is everything that happened last week. And what had happened last week was simple, right? And that's why you have to be flexible with the use of time frame for you to be able to understand and comprehend what is happening in the market. So last week we had the first candlestick open right on this level, right? After price broke this last low, we had price open right on this level, and we had the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? On the Friday, what had happened? Price came back to retest this previous area of support, right? So literally what had happened last week was price opened an opportunity for us to get this short sell to the downside for people who are day trading. We haven't been on the swing, for we was swinging, we've been in, since, the top, right? So what had happened right now is the price made this break below this previous support, right? It's coming back to finding a retest right now, and price might be continuing, the push to the downside in subsequent weeks, right? So, but that's not enough for us. That's not enough confirmation for us. We have other things that we are looking in game as well, right? Because we can't just say support is broken to giving us a resistance. Ain't as much as candlestick reaction where price got here was the price closed last week as more of like a bearish, winning, this game, right? In as much as it closed as a bullish candlestick, but price opened, right on this level, came to the downside, went up, and the bear still won on this particular candlestick. So now what we need to do this week is to identify, okay, what really happened. Let's relate it with a bigger picture, and let's get ourselves a precise and much more accurate piece of information we can put together to predict what we're expecting for the market to do this week, right? So the first thing we can see right here is that we want to understand, why did price reject right on this level? Why did price reject right on this level? It's pretty much simple. Price rejected around the level because we had the full AB equals the CD completion right on this level, right? And after the AB equals the CD got completed, we have AB right here equals to CD, right? And after the AB equals to CD completed, is only ideal for you, right, to find a rejection, just like the same thing that happened from our last week analysis. AB right here equals to CD right here, and price rejected, right? So if price rejects, right, we made mention of this last week, and I'm going to make mention of it again, right? When you have an A to B, B to C retracement, and C to D, extension or continuation complete, right? We definitely expect some kind of rejection as much as the 61.8 level, provided the price is still pointing to the downside, which is exactly what is happening right here. Price is still pointing to the downside. So we have an anticipation that price should make a move at least, right? This is C to D, right? C to D level right here. The price may be making a push right down to the 61.8 below the trend line again, right? So we have this expectation in game already. That's expectation number one. So apparently we have, if price should continue to make this retracement to the upside, that means this is going to be our first rejection zone, our major rejection zone before price continues to move to the downside. That is noted, right? So we've gotten a piece of information in the back, right? The second thing I want us to see right here, after price made an AB because the CD rejection, could be what? If price doesn't reject here, definitely price might just want to mess around and do the traditional, break of support. After price found the support, major support, it got broken right here down to this level, and now we could be having the retest of the support back to this level before price continue to make us, the next push down to this level. So definitely this also looks possible. So because of that, what do we have right here? We have our area of rejection again right on this level. So now we're having two major areas whereby price could reject, right? So what we're simply doing is identifying the key resistances where price could be rejecting, so that after price is done reject, price, we only want to observe price reaction when price gets to this, level, right? So that being done, so let's move to the 4 hours time frame to see things clearly, right? So now that we've identified two major areas where price could be rejecting, which is the first and the second area, which is the previous area of support on the daytime return resistance, right? Definitely we want to look at something again, right? We want to see another area of rejection, right? So right after prices start to make all of this push, this move to the downside started from this level and ended right here. So definitely this is also another area, which is the 61.8 level. So we've got two 61.8 to the upside and area of support on resistance to the downside. So now, in summary, what do we have right here? So we've identified three areas of rejection. Number one, either price reject right here and make the continuation to the downside, price reject right here, continuation to the downside, or price reject right on this level, continuation to the downside, right? So this makes it very easy for us, right? It makes it very easy for us. So all we got to do right now is to sit back and observe how price reacts, right, on this key resistance area to see whichever resistance area is going to be in game, right? So what we want to do is let's see how this resistance plays out. If this resistance reject price and we have a lower time frame chart structure change confirmation, then we can find in an entry, allow the resistance to give us an hint, then upon continuation to the downside, they want to enter the safest possible, area of the market. So now let's look at what we're now waiting for, right? Now that we've got this in game, right? If price is gonna, now we have to go to the smaller time frame, right? These are the time frame we're gonna be waiting for price, right? We don't know if price is gonna reject right here immediately next week. Definitely, we don't know that yet, right? We don't know if price is gonna reject here next week as well. Definitely, we don't know that. We don't know if price is going to reject right here. Definitely, we don't know that. But what we want to do is we've identified this potential, resistance area, and we want to make sense on the lower time frame and see what price is going to do. So on the lower time frame, let's see. So if price should right now, if price should reject on this first level, what are we going to be waiting out for? Definitely, we're going to wait out for this key level right here to break, right? Key level right here to break, right? Definitely, we're not just going to enter anyways because we want to enter at the safest possible area. It's different to find this potential setup. It's a different to find an entry confirmation. So if price should enter right here, that means this is going to be in play, right? As you guys can see, you can see the price at broken, this trend line, this retracement trend line to whichever resistance you want to obey. So first thing is if price should reject right on this level, which is the daily area of support on resistance right here, right? I think what we're going to be looking out for is price to break this last low right here. If it should break this last low right here, definitely we'll pull out our our Fibonacci levels and wait for price to hit the 61.8, right? If price hit the 61.8, we could be having a kind of rejection right here because the structure has already broken right on this level. Then upon the continuation to the downside, definitely we want to look out for a trade level right here for our TP1 right on this level, then our TP2 right on the Fibonacci 161.8 extension, which is definitely going to be here. So this is the first case scenario that we're looking out for, looking at where price is rejecting right now. So this kind of a trade is going to give us, like, after price made this rejection, we could be risking as much as like 30 pips for about 97 pips for TP1 and about 201 pips for TP2. This is a very nice trade, provided price reject on this level. And our confirmation is simple. Wait for price to break the structure, right? The structure, it had been forming while it started to move to the upside, which is higher highs, the higher lows, the highs right now, right? And price may be looking out to, just break it, give us this retest that we spoke about here, and definitely the continuation. This is first case scenario, right? Second case scenario, let's take all of this out. Is this, if price should reject right on the second level, what are we going to be looking out for? Still the same thing. We're going to look out for price to eat this level, wait for price, to make the push, double exhaustion, right? There's always bound to be a double exhaustion. And when we find the break of this trend directly like this, with our profit target still going to be on the same key level, right? So this one is even going to give us much more profits, on it. So all we're simply waiting for is price eating this key level. We're waiting for a change in structure, and that's exactly what we're waiting for. If price happens to reject on the third level as well, it's still the same thing we're waiting out for, right? Price making the push to this level, right? Wait for price to open up a room for change of structure as well, then definitely we're going to be looking out to getting into the market, which is going to give us more returns. So depending on where price rejects, it's more returns for us, right? So, but now that the most ideal place for us now that we're looking at right now is the previous area support turning into resistance, because that's the only information we could get right now. So if price should give us that, definitely it's to bounce down to, you know, our major confirmation, which is what price making a first touch right here, second touch right here, a break, and price could now be finding a push below, right? If we find this push below, we will look out for an exhaustion, and you know, we're gonna look out to take a TP1 on the previous low, which we know definitely prices can break, in TP2 right on the key, TP1 right on this level, and you know, TP2 right on the extension level, which is the 161.8 Fibonacci extension level, which is, you know, right somewhere around this point. So definitely this is what we're going to be looking out for people who are looking out to get into the new, you know, trade. The reason why we're going to hold our horn right to this level is because we've gotten in higher and we're trading a bigger picture. So definitely this is what we're looking out for on the USDcad for this new week. If it doesn't play out like this, definitely we're gonna have our hands fold back and see how it reacts on this level. If it doesn't react on this level, we're gonna have a hand fold back and see how it reacts on this level. But overall, we're still very bearish on the bigger picture on this pair. Thank you guys so much. If you find this video interesting, you can like, subscribe, and share this post. You guys do have an amazing week.